Audio recorded on February 9 and March 7, 2023, by Sybil Mann Baylor, for educational sharing in audiobook Flor di Aromatic Cosa Nova. Radical, Adventure and Action Sports. Concepts, Classifications and Characteristics. Authors: Dimitri White-Ritter 1, Igor Armbruster 2, Dennis Prado Ricardo 3. Summary. Radical sport is the practice of physical activity where risk prevails, and despite existing for a long time, it was at the beginning of the 21st century that this phenomenon was consolidated and studied by physical education. We believe that this happened due to the social, economic and cultural changes of our times. The objective of this study was to understand the concept of extreme sport and interpret its characteristics. As methodology, we used the deductive philosophical method of research. We assume the concept of sport based on its social dimensions, such as sport of performance, participation and education, and we looked in several authors the basis for the conceptualization of the term radical, that is root, that is, an attitude of search of a meaning to our existence. However, as we believe in complex thinking to explain the social phenomena studied, we found the various characteristics of these activities, which led us to classify them as extreme action sports, which are those where the search for the perfect maneuver predominates, or extreme adventure sports, where the predominance is the overcoming of certain geographical challenges. We concluded our conception of extreme sport without excluding other concepts, but we believe that the root of these cultural expressions, and hence their nomenclature, is in the realization or in the perception that these risky activities experienced as sport are outcroppings of human existence and feeling, reassembling an awareness. Significant keywords: sport, physical education, radical, adventure and action. Introduction. The social changes arising from all fields of human relations, globalization, technology, environment, behavior, among others, are reflected in physical education as much as in other areas. Currently, one aspect that has drawn attention are the risk activities practiced as leisure sports for education, in which movement is the central element of this culture. Several human experiences have been reported and documented on the subject, which was previously intended only for beings endowed with heroism and courage. Steinman, 2003, Ferreras, 2005, Herzog, 2001. What has changed and spread since the beginning of the last decade is the democratization of these activities that are now practiced by a diversity of people who, in general, have little knowledge about the technical and safety aspects they require, but who want to experience their emotions. Hyder, 1999, Frere, Schwartz, 2005, among other authors, even believe these practices as educational and training possibilities for citizens. Which brings us to professionals and educators who need to take ownership of this new culture to contextualize their contents to the new reality of physical education. But the discussion on the subject is recent, and the concepts are starting to be debated without definitions being crystallized. Thus, we are faced with the problem of conceptualizing what we will call extreme sports from now on, in order to elucidate some issues, generate conflicts and contradictions necessary for growth, and provide an environment for productive discussion that raises our conceptions of risky bodily activities taking as reference the field of knowledge of physical education. As we use the term sport to conceptualize these activities, we believe it is important to start the discussion with him. Sport is undoubtedly a very complex cultural phenomenon and has been studied by several authors with different opinions about its influences on society. In addition, it receives in each period a specific meaning referring to the moment lived. Currently, risky activities associated with human movement, which are not as recent as proposed by Dias 2006, have been practiced since the 1960s in Brazil, have gained social value and have gained new meanings, and may even influence the concept of sport that we have today. As these authors propose, this new sport contains characteristics of the traditional sport, but the practitioner looks for another reason to practice it or changes certain codes in the game, finding a more individualized meaning for the practice. The rational logic that guided many sports practices until the end of the century, characterized by the institutionalized rules of games and motor activities with the search for records. It is receiving influences from other human senses such as the sensations that the movement provides, the feelings with which the practitioners must face to try the activity, and the intuition is now valid as essential element in decision-making. There is undoubtedly an open door for discovering a new meaning for sport. Therefore, it is within the contemporary complexity that the relationship between sport, physical activity, and the radical adventure that is engendered in this new system. It will be from this reflection on the concept, the ideas and the interpretation that we will be able to really understand them and participate in them without miscategorizing them or transforming them into the same object that we additionally know as sport. In the bodily experiences of leisure in nature, a complexity is perceived, and also the tendency to attribute to these new practices a peculiar in tune with the cultural, social, ethical and aesthetic standards emerging in the contemporary world. VRLAVRE 2000, page 119. 2. Objective. The aim of this study is to carry out an investigation on the subject extreme sports, starting from the hypothesis that its concept, phenomenation, classification and characterization, that is, your current thesis, requires critical reflection based on aspects of the movement, historical origin, etymology, psychological conditions and social relations typical of these practices, so that we can propose a viable theoretical model that meets the aspirations of education physics, broadening our view on the subject and opening the possibility of new conceptual overcomings to come. 3. Methodology. This philosophical study will be guided by the reflection and synthesis of this phenomenon, taking into account the spirit of creativity present in the deductive process with logical coherence that precedes the production of new knowledge. According to Farias Jr. 1992, philosophy structures currents that inspire or dominate mentalities in certain periods. Our procedure in this research will be the reflexive deduction about the problem using ideas, bibliographical references, meanings and values to shed some light on the subject. As we start from our experience in the subject as practitioners and researchers of these activities for further reflection as suggested by Thomas Elson 2002, page 248, 250 for philosophical research. The necessary reflections for the understanding of this phenomenon intend to differentiate the concepts from definitions, descriptions, clarifications and denials. Thomas Nelson, 2008, page 250. Using dialectic and dialogic as a tool. Dialectics in ancient Greece had several meanings, including art of dialogue (Ko and Dir, 1987) and dialogic for Moran, 1996. Page 188. 189 means two logics united without losing unity, not destroying variety and diversity of each. We intend to dialogue with the established concepts about extreme sports, show their contradictions and seek a qualitative change for this concept, without necessarily losing the ideas from which these emerged. 4. Literature review. When we think about risky physical activities in society's contemporary world, we must understand them within the very complexity that the world presents us with. Otherwise we run the risk of understanding it in a segmented way, dichotomizing once again the conceptions of a physical education that still has difficulty in understanding the relations between the activity physics, sport, leisure, games and education. This study takes place within the intricate epistemological relationship of physical education, and the ideological position contained in it does not intend to assert itself impartial, nor will it assume a single position regarding the very concept of physical education, thus being quoted to Jill 2006 because for him physical education has not yet a theoretical support that justifies its scientificity, not composing a range of common knowledge, concepts and practices. In this study, we will look at what has been affirmed as a specific content of physical education and which has been consolidated over time, not despising of their concepts, but accepting these as an established culture as part of physical education. Historically, modern Western physical education has taught game, gym, fights, dance, sports. We could say then that these are classic contents, remained through time transforming countless of its aspects to assert itself as elements of culture, as a unique language of man in time. Thus, they constitute a collection, a patrimony that must be treated by the school. Source: 1996 Corsacas, by Rose Jr. 2002. Reflecting on the relationship between sport and education, they highlight the functions that it can have in today's society, affirming its character of performance and autonomy as something pertinent to human development. For them, sports practice is an expression of humanity because it seems to satisfy people's desires and interests, thus assuming various meanings depending on their historical and social context, and may even be part of education. We perceive in this speech an approximation with the contradictions of human activities, not restricting the concept to a certain moment in human history, but expanding to the wishes of those who are intended, that is, the human being. Demonstrate the possibility of developing human potential, characterized by risk, challenge and adventure. Perhaps it is not possible to understand extreme sports as one more motor activity with codification of rules due to the use of motor skills acquired through training, as suggested by Maurice D. Oliveira 1988. The emergence of risky activities such as physical education brings a new element to the discussion: how to think about the practice of sports outside the courts. outside the rules of victory and defeat between opponents. In a sport based on the solidarity of the participants, how to believe that the main objective of a game can be the preservation of nature. It is necessary to understand this phenomenon within the very complexity of current times. If we think of education, or physical education, then we must look to Moran 2002 for a point of support that affirms the need to train citizens capable of facing the problems of their time, and which he defines as a transdisciplinary pedagogy, going beyond junction of disciplines or their multiplicity. This idea seems new, but the exercise of thinking about these relationships appeared more than a decade ago with Guattari's forecasts and Weber's interpretations, both of which have historical foundations, allowing us to foresee physical education including sports and recreation in an ecological sense. Coast 1992. Therefore, it is necessary to leave the Cartesian logic, because the transformations of social, economic, technological and scientific order that put the planet in a new course, since the physicist Max Planck discovered the quark's energy structures that transit between atoms, being at the same time inside and outside them, going against the logic of obtaining an answer only through the relations of cause and effect of ordered mathematics, according to which an equation can have only one answer. This new way of thinking came to break the paradigms of classical science: simplicity, continuity, causality, determinism and objectivity. Nicolescu 1999, p. 19. For example, when a surfer expects a wave and suddenly starts paddling, adjusting his position to the formation of the wave, it is not possible to make an exact mathematical prediction for this situation and manage to go down the wave. He needs to feel and intuit, adding his previous experiences and self-knowledge to decide the right time to start. Heffer, Scene 2002, page 2, portray this new meaning for science and its relationship with risky activities, saying that the holistic climate that supports the resurgence of solidarity of all things is revealing, in which emotion and sensitivity should be considered as a mixture of objectivity and subjectivity. Therefore, extreme sports, of adventure and action, as we will define more the forward, are just the motor representation that society is finding to enter a new era, the age of chance. Chance is a word that comes from the Arabic hazar, and that, according to Nicolescu 1999, page 23, means game of dice. The metaphor of life in this new millennium is coexistence with unpredictability and the possibility of success in this dice game. The meaning of risky activities seems to be linked to an accidental or chaotic condition, outside the standard of classical science and in line with the transformations of the 21st century. Corroborating this idea, Coaster 1999 states that the fact that the adventure is endowed with a meaning brings the adventure of the gambler who represents himself by a life conditioned by luck, which he counts in his favor. Physical education suffers from the vision of rational thinking about the body, as Brath 1999 emphasizes, and an example of this in the field of extreme sports can be found in the grading of rock climbing routes. This complex scoring system rationally seeks to give the exact difficulty for each path chosen as an access route to the top of the rocks. But despite the intense debates and logical formulations of each of the variables, movement difficulty, risk of falling, time of duration of the climb, amount of force required, quality of the protections, maximum level of difficulty of the most difficult part of the route, etc. FEMERJ 2007. There is still a subjectivity that is based on the concepts of each individual about what climbing is, in the type of geological and geographic formation, in the natural slope of the rock, in the history of the local climbing community, and even in the personal vanity of each climber who conquers the way. It is noticed that the very creation of rules in extreme sports must be based on complexity, which goes against the thinking of Souza 2001 when he enters the world of climbing to demonstrate a form of manifestation of human intelligence, body intelligence kinesthetic. Completing this reasoning, Bratt 1999 believes in the moment of transition that postmodern society is going through, and that for this reason the challenge should not be to simplify, but to understand the complex relationships understood in the field of physical education. However, this does not mean the denial of reason, as well as spink presence. 2001 when addressing reflection as a fundamental factor to control the hazards through risk analysis, not only centered on the dictates of traditional surveillance mechanisms but in a type of management of transdisciplinary information. In this contradiction between reason, sensation, intuition and emotion, some observations are still quite relevant to reflect on the complexity. 2006, p. 143, 144. The contradiction between having luck on your side and needing the ability of solving problems using the different ways in which intelligence can manifest itself, logically, orally, bodily. It is a dialectical form of we face contemporary life and its challenges, because I must have rational knowledge to make decisions, but I still rely on intuition and luck to start a risky move. Millets 1990 already believed that these sports must contradict the logic of class or sportivized movement. This thought should serve as a starting point if one believes in a physical education with values different from those that have been preached so far. We realize that the richness of the theme deserves attention from researchers and teachers so that in the near future we can approach languages, contents and educational proposals consonant with our time and thus produce knowledge and act professionally. Conceptualization. It is noticed that the conceptualization in this area is in constant conflict and mutation. Silvera 2002, page 161 already made a criticism when discussing the term before employed by Tubano 1998 when he said that nature sports are those committed to living with the environment and adventure sports are those that identify with risky activities. Because for the author, in nature itself there is already the unpredictability of generating risks, pointing to a contradiction in the different terms presented, nature sports and adventure sports. Badia, Sampaio 2004 discuss the subject understanding this difficulty in conceptualizing these new activities through what Charles 1987 considers a proliferation of techniques, methods and practices that fragment physical education to infinity, losing all its unity. The following year, Costa Tubano 1999 returned to the subject by not classifying, but trying to explain where these sports fit in. The appearance and diffusion of sports whose practice is constituted of calculated risk reorganized the sports system, causing a symbolic and sign renewal. Perceived exchanges are more a matter of ways of perceiving them than of their physical or technical characteristics. And they go on to state that the emotions in these practices explode in risk, in a fictitious way. They are provoked, calculated, somewhat imaginary risks. At this point it becomes clear that emotions are closely linked to practice and cannot be dissociated after all. Risk causes feelings that go beyond winning or losing. However, the widespread idea that these practices are not real risks is contrary to the high number of accidents that have occurred in recent years, as presented by Admiral Joe 2002. Spink 2002 goes further. It is action sports that appear impregnated by the language of risks. The risks are intrinsic to the very activity. For the author, risk is also part of the sports package. Adventure that is becoming more and more popular. However, she makes it clear in her study that we can perceive two different ways in which the term risk is used. Sometimes in the risk-danger relationship and sometimes as probability. It is suggested that there is a metaphorical way to face the danger, abandoning the security and comfort for a counterconformity to the reproductive society in which we live. Maybe that's why some activities are classified as extreme sports. Bruins, Marinho 2003. In this sense, seek in the classification of games proposed by Alloys the links games elements of vertigo present in certain activities. In a way we are talking about this kind of activity, regardless of whether they can encompass all the symbols present in extreme sports. These and other questions are addressed from various references such as Bertrand 2003 for a 1989 Marinho 2005 Uvine 2001 among others. These authors discuss the concepts of radical, adventure, dangerous, extreme sports, among others. Matthiessen 1999 presents a quite different conception for the concept of alternative activities relating them to bodily practices, therapies that approach psychology and physiotherapy and that have other objectives and meanings such as body awareness and realization of slow and pleasurable movements. We believe that a distinction should be made of this term in relation to risk activities, as they do not seem to have a close relationship. We recognize the difficulty of uniting terms and concepts. Of Jesus 2003 states that this is an impossible task due to the great lack of definition among the different names found, like extreme sports, action, X Games, Californian sports, outdoor sports, extreme sports. But he considers that they are in opposition to traditional sports. A political decision is made in this sense when we assume the term sport. The conceptions of sport in the academic field of physical education tend to generate controversy due to the association between sport and activities competitive, institutionalized, focus on income, contrary to the character of consumer goods, of the entertainment industry, of the enterprise of health, education. Alves, Pierre 2007. This proposition of the term sport is also supported by the character of the universal information contained therein. D. Jesus, 1999. Another decision is the choice of radical as the receiver of the activities of adventure and action. The search for the meaning of radical in the dictionary leads us to what comes from root, which is basic or fundamental, inflexible, in the philosophical sense, and who preaches or acts with radicalism or extremism, in the political sense. For a 1989 and the K-less 1998. When we follow the political direction, we perceive in the attitudes and behaviors of practitioners various statements of their convictions as exemplifies Uvine Ha 2001 about the skaters or Coaster 2000 about the mountaineers. But Silvera 2002, page 162 differentiates extreme sports by differentiated behavior present in these practices, not just being in the nature, which contradicts the authors mentioned above. Fernandez 1998 brings a comprehensive conceptualization for sports radical for its scope extreme sports set of body practices differentiated by their approach to nature or interaction with urban obstacles, and for expressing values that contest previously established standards. Audio recorded on February 9 and March 7, 2023, by Sybil Mann Baylor, for educational sharing in audiobook Flor de Aromatic Cosa Nova. Let us be attentive to the fact that practitioners themselves often avoid the labels that classify them. Pavia 1999 in his study pointed out a certain aversion of climbers to the term radical. However, when we reflect on the philosophical sense of root that depth must be larger, because this symbol is not evident as something proper to this manifestation. When one enters the universe of extreme sports, one realizes that the engagement of individuals happens through the intensity of emotion felt in these experiences. There is in this choice a motivation to test personal worth and beliefs in the world and in oneself. One of the bets of the practitioners is the fact that they believe they have their existence in their hands through the control of their body. Lee Breton, 2006. For this author, the body is the path of salvation, in a lay perspective in which the individual determines the tests he inflicts on himself to test his worth. It's about finding solid grounding in your existence. Lee Breton, 2006, p. 116. Or else, we can look for the root of these activities in the imaginary, as Coaster 1999 thus. When seeking risk, practitioners of extreme sports seek emotions that are rooted in the fictional universe. Here are the clues for a possible understanding of these meanings and so that we can explore them more and more. Classification. So that we can summarize our reflections after analyzing the various involved theses, we propose a classification of extreme sports based on the idea of Uvine Ha 2001 that uses the place of practice as a starting point, namely, water, air and land. We expanded this classification to also include activities practiced in the urban environment and which, for this reason, have distinct particular characteristics. In addition, we also organize mixed activities that involve more than one type of environment. Within our classification we decided to divide extreme sports into two distinct types: action sports and adventure sports. This distinction is necessary due to the peculiarities of each type of extreme sport that we will try to explain below. Audio recorded on February 9 and March 7, 2023, by Sybil Mann Baylor, for educational sharing in audiobook Flor de Aromatic Cosa Nova. The meaning of action is movement, attitude or behavior, manifestation of strength and energy, ability to do something. For a 1989. In a simple analysis we see that the symbol of these activities is an important movement to be performed. a complex technical gesture that translates your emotion. The so-called maneuver attitude is synonymous with action and is linked to the tribes cited by Uvine Ha 2001 as the groups that relate within these practices tend to have a form of language, clothing, and behavior that unites them. The word adventure comes from the Latin adventura, which means what is to come, with a sense of unknown, unpredictable. For a 1989, this sense is linked to feeling of looking for something that is not tangible at first, which is very common to practitioners of modalities in nature, especially those where distance, climate, physical effort, deprivation and uncertainty are present. Both have in common the fact that they are rooted in the search for a meaningful existence and with risk as a fundamental agent to live emotional experiences. However, they differ in the characteristics that we will be presenting in the table below. The table below shows this classification. Radical sports. 1. Medium, aquatic. Action, surf, windsurf. Adventure, diving, free and autonomous canoeing, rafting, kayaking, aquaride, canyoning. To medium, air, action, base jump, sky surf. Adventure, parachuting, ballooning, gliding. 3. Medium, terrestrial, action, bungee jumping, sandboarding. Adventure, mountaineering, rock climbing, ice climbing. Techniques, verticals, zip lines, abseiling, tree climbing, mountain biking, downhill, cross-country trekking. For medium, mixed, action, kite surfing. Adventure, adventure race. 5. Mid-urban, action, indoor climbing, skateboarding, inline skating, bike trial, BMX. Adventure, Lee Parker. We observed that these modalities presented were reinvented and variations may arise, being this a framework open to expansions and alterations. Description. The classification is now presented in terms of a characterization of extreme sports in different aspects: historical, social, risks, age groups. There is a division into action and adventure sports that is specific to the field of physical education, as they mainly take into account motor skills and predominant physical abilities in these. We assume here an idea of encompassing in extreme sports both the activities that we call action and those that we consider adventure, trying to identify the differences between them, in order to recognize them better and not to separate them. These characteristics are presented according to the data obtained from Uvine Ha 2001, Stieman 2003, Pimentel 2006, Prera 2007, Morinho 2005, Frere, Schwartz 2005, Coaster, Dubano 1999, Coaster 2000, Betrant 2003, and the professional, academic and practical experiences of the authors in relation to extreme sports, acquired in the last 15 years. Below the characterization table, radical sports. 1. Characteristic, skill, action, predominates stabilization. Adventure, locomotion predominates. 2. Characteristic, physical capacity, action, powerful force predominates. The speed of maneuvers requires strength and speed. Adventure, resistance predominates. Strategy and choice gain importance. 3. Characteristic, spawn, action, as a leisure activity and use of free time. Adventure, as an expedition or exploration, military, economic or scientific. For characteristics, etymology, action, manifestation of force and energy, movement, behavior, and attitude. Adventure, risky, unusual, dangerous and unpredictable experiences. 5 characteristics. Purpose, action, leisure is the main reason. Competitions generate events of great importance. Adventure, strong relationship between leisure and tourism. Used as education. 6 features, location, action, urban and nature, built spaces and natural events, wave, wind. Adventure, nature and urban, natural spaces. The goal is to leave one point and reach another. 7 characteristics. Public, action, average between 15 and 25 years. Adventure, average between 25 and 35 years old. 8 characteristics. Danger, action, help nearest, less climate action. Adventure, farther help, greater weather action. 9 features. Organization, action, there are rules, associations and formation of tribes. Adventure, there are rules, associations and team building. 10 features. Media, action, seeks to capture the maneuver. It relates to the target public and attitude, clothing, behavior and language. Adventure, seeks to capture a story. Relates to the target audience in ecology, quality of life and the environment. Audio recorded on February 9 and March 7, 2023, by Sybil Mann Baylor, for educational sharing in audiobook. Flor de Aromatic Cosa Nova. 5. Final considerations. We start from the thesis of other authors who conceptualized and classified these activities, not considering this an easy task, but through the deductive analysis of the researched references and the professional and academic experiences of the researchers in this area, we were able to reach the conclusion that it would be necessary to assume the term extreme sports as a unifier of adventure and action sports, even knowing the risk inherent in that choice. The risk that we decided to take on the proposal of thinking in a complex way about sports activities in the contemporary world, but a risk that we understand to be guided by the exposed logic of the characteristics and philosophical and etymological conceptions of the terms discussed, and by the sensation, the instinct and the feeling that these expressions contain, without excluding the historicity and sociability from which they originated. Thus, the intention of the text was not to reduce sports practices to demonstrated meanings, but present a language that expresses our experiences and research on the subject, and that allows us an open communication to the diversities of these cultures and their agents. We believe that this way we can transit through extreme sports and be understood by their various interlocutors, with the awareness that we are bringing these new practices closer to physical education without intending to miscategorize either of the two. The most difficult part of this adventure was identifying the element that rooted sports radicals within a society in search of its existence. We believe that the root of these cultural expressions, and hence their nomenclature, lies in the realization or perception that these risky activities experienced as sport are human outcrops of existing and feeling, reassembling the significant awareness grateful for the interest in expanding on the reflection of the proposed themes. Audio recorded on February 9 and March 7, 2023, by Sybil Mann Baylor, for educational sharing in audiobook. Flor de Auro Malik Casanova. Bibliographic references: Alves, J.A.B. Tiranti, Opus. The State and Policy Making National Sport in Brazil. Ray Electronics. V6 number 1 Dart. 1. January/June 2007. Available at http://www.ray.com.br/electronica/index.cfm Fusation equals article and ID equals 3843 and Secao equals artigeos and volume equals 6 and numero equals 1 and anno equals 2007. Accessed on 10th of October 2007. Admiral P.L. Araujo, MK Sports Accident Report Mountain V2, number 2, 2002. Available at http://www.cbmail.org.br. Accessed on 10 of October 2007. Bahia, MC, Sampaio, TMB. Leisure and Sports in Nature, Associated Impacts Environmental. XVIENAREL, National Meeting of Recreation and Leisure. Salvador Bach. Leisure as Culture, The Challenge of Inclusion. FIEB/SCSI System, V.16, 2004. BEZRA, EJ, Scene, DCS. Corporeality and Leisure, Understanding Solidarity in Adventure Sports in Nature. In BNARDL, XIV Meeting National Institute of Recreation and Leisure. Santa Cruz do Sul, RS Leisure, Development Region and Lifestyle. Page 2, 2002. BEDRANJO. Towards a new concept of active leisure and tourism in Spain. In the Marina chose A. Bruins, HT. Org. Tourism, Leisure and Nature. Berruari, Manoli, P. 165, 2003. Bracht, V. The Constitution of Pedagogical Theories of Physical Education. Seeds V. 19, Ben 48, Campinas, August, 1999. Brazil A. Law 9615/98. Section I. Sports, Art. 217, 1998. Brazil B. Secretary of Fundamental Education. PCN, Education Physics/Department of Elementary Education. Brasilia, MEC/SEF, 1998. Bruins, HT. At the Rhythm of Adventure. In Bruins, HT, the Marina chose A. Org. Tourism, Leisure and Nature. Sao Paulo, Manoli, 2003. Castellani FILA chose Physical Education in Brazil, The Story That Is Not Told. Campinas, Potiters, 1988. Costa, VLM. Adventure Sports and Risk in the Mountain, A History of Game with Limits and Uncertainties. Doctoral Thesis. Gama Filho University, Rio de Janeiro, January 1999. Costa VLM. Adventure Sports and Risk in the Mountain. Sao Paulo, Manoli, 2000. Costa LP Body and Motricity in GBARA. Hey, Marrera, WW. Org. Physical Education and Sports. Perspectives for the 21st Century. Campinas, Potpitters, 1992. Costa VLM, TUBINO, MJG. Adventure and Risk in the Practice of Sports Linked to Nature. Motus Corporis, Rio de Janeiro, V6. Number 2. Page 96-112. November 1999. From Jesus. GM. The Geography of Sports. An Introduction. Script on New Magazine Electronic Geography and Social Sciences. University of Barcelona. 1035. 1 of March 1999. Available at http://www.ub.es/geocrit/sn5.him. Accessed on October 10, 2007. Underscore 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 underscore. The frivolous territoriality of adventure sports. In the Marina chose, hey, Bruins, HT. Org. Tourism, Leisure and Nature. February, SP. Manoli, 2003. Diosh, CAG. Initial Notes for a Comparative History of Sports in Nature. Uses of the Past. XII Regional History Meeting. The NPUHRJ. 2006 Public Archive of the State of Rio de Janeiro. APRJ Farias Jr., AG. Research in Physical Education, Approaches and Paradigms. In Farias Jr., AG. FARINA PT Research and Knowledge Production in Physical Education. SBDF, Brazilian Society for the Development of Physical Education, Rio de Janeiro. To the Technical Book, 1992. FEMERJ Federation of Mountaineering and Climbing of the State of Rio de Janeiro. Brazilian Graduate System. NORITOMI, FY, WASNIEWSKI, F. Cord. Available at http://www.femerj.org. Accessed September 30, 2007. Fernandez, R.C. Reflections for an Academic Study. Campinas. Connections, Education, Sport and Leisure. B1, Number 1, page 96 to 105, 1998. Ferreira, A.B.H. Mini Dictionary of the Portuguese Language. 2nd ed. Rio de Janeiro, New Frontier, 1989. Ferreiras, P. Dotting, A Story of Love and Obsession. Sao Paulo, Planetary from Brazil, 2005. Freire, M. Schwartz, G.M. The Walk in Nature in the Classes of Physical Education, Consolidating Proactive Attitudes. Education Research Collection Physics. Number June 4, 2005. Freire, M. Dialogue between Education and Nature in Adventures in Nature, Consolidating Meanings. John D. I. S.P. Fonture Editora. 2006. GALLAHUE, the LOZMUN, JC. Understanding Motor Development, Babies, Children and Adults. Sao Paulo, Forte Editora, 2001. GREZZANA, F. Education, Environment and Adventure Sports in Nature. Collection -12 VNAREL National Meeting of Recreation and Leisure. Spa Camborio, Santa Catarina, Roca, 2000. Herzog, M. Hannapur. The first summit over 8,000 meters conquered by man. Sao Paulo, Companhia das Letras, 2001. Heider, the Have your students climbing the walls, the growth of indoor climbing. Journal of Physical Education, Recreation and Dance, V70, number 9, page 32 to 39, 1999. ISAYAMA, HF. Recreation and Leisure as part of course curricula degree in Physical Education. Campinas doctoral thesis. College of Physical Education, Department of Leisure Studies, State University of Campinas, 2002. KAMMI, C. Devries, R. Group Games in Early Childhood Education. Sao Paulo, Cultural Trajectory, 1991. KO and L. What is Dialectics? Sao Paulo, Brasiliense, 17. Ed. Collection First Steps, 1987. KORSAKs, P. by Rose Jr. The Meetings and Disagreements Between Sport and Education, a Philosophical Pedagogical Discussion. Mackenzie's Magazine Physical Education and Sport, Year 1, Ben 1, 2002. Lee Breton, D. Risk and Leisure in Nature. In Travel, Leisure and Sport, The Nature Space. Marine Alcyone, L. was a trainee Brutensmorg. Bearberry, S.P. Manoli, page 116, 2006. The MARINA chose adventure activities in artificial environments. In Tourism of Adventure, Reflections and Trends. Uvine Ha, R.R. Org. Sao Paulo, All Left, 2005. Maris de Oliveira, J.G. Physical Education and Sport in Higher Education. In Passos, SCE. Physical Education and Sports at the University, Brasilia, Ministry of Education, Department of Physical Education and Sports, 1988. Matheson, S.Q. Physical Education and Alternative Body Practices. The scientific production of the undergraduate course in Physical Education at UNDSP, Rio Claudio from 1987 to 1997. Mortrise, V5, number December 2, 1999. Michaelis, Modern Dictionary of the Portuguese Language. Sao Paulo, Improvements, 1998. Miles, J.C. The Future of Adventure Education. In Miles, J.C. Priest, S. Adventure Education. State College, Wound Publishing, 1990. Moran, The Education and Complexity, The Seven Knowledges and Other Essays. They are Paul Cortez. P. 13, 2002. underscore 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 science with conscience. Rio de Janeiro, Bertrand, Brazil. Page 188-189 1996. NICOLDSCU, Big Manifesto of Transdisciplinarity. Sao Paulo. Triad 1999. Pavia H. Extreme Sports and Society, a focus on climbing. FEFISA, Santa Andre. Scientific Initiation Program 1999. PARLEBAs, P. Perspectives for a Modern Physical Education. Spain. Unisport. 1987. Prera. D.W. Climbing. Obgon Collection, The Spirit of Sport. First ed. Sao Paulo. Odysseus. 2007. PILLA. Pierre Bourdieu. Notes for a Methodological Reflection on History of Modern Sport. Available at http://www.efdeportes.com. Magazine Digital. Buenos Aires. Year 11. N97. June 2006. Accessed on October 10, 2007. Pills. G.A. Sociology of Sport in Germany. Journal of Historical Studies, Sports and Leisure. N23, B1, 1999. Available at http://www.cpdoc.fgb.br/revista/r/256.pdf. Accessed on October 10, 2007. Pimentel. GGA. Risk, Body and Sociality in Free Flight. Campinas. Thesis by doctorate degree. Faculty of Physical Education, State University of Campinas. P. 143 Spink, M.J. Tropics of the Discourse on Risk Adventure as a Metaphor in Late Modernity. Public Health Section Volume 17 Number 6. Rio de Janeiro November./December. 2001. Underscore 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 danger, probability, and opportunity. The language of risks in media. Psychology, reflection and criticism. Porto Alegre. V15 Number 1, 2002. Source, CL. School Physical Education, Knowledge and Specificity. Magazine Paulista School of Physical Education, Sao Paulo, SUPL. 2. Page 6-12, 1996. Souza, M.T. Bodily Intelligence, Kinesthetic as a Manifestation of Human Intelligence in Children's Behavior. Doctoral Thesis in Physical Education, Faculty of Physical Education, State University of Campinas, Campinas, 2001. Silveira, JCF. Sports in Nature and Professional Training in Education Physical. In SONOO, CN. Souza, C. Oliveira, AAB. Physical Education and Sports, The New Challenges of Professional Training. Moringa, Def. B1. Page 153, 165, 2002. Steinman, J. Surf and Health. Edition by Dr. Joel Steinman, 2003. TOJAL. JD. Human motoricity, science or field of intervention. Lecture held at the First International Congress of Epistemology of Physical Education. Sao Paulo, September 21 and 22, 2006. Available at http://www.confess.org.br/IO_GIRVSSO_internetCO_DE_FICA October 2, 2007. TUDINO. MJG. Sport as an important social phenomenon of the 20th century and of the beginning of the 21st century. In Congress of Physical Education and Sciences of the Deporte from Portuguese-speaking countries. Polly Shear. Assault Runa. 1998. TUDINO. MJG. Social Dimensions of Sport. 2nd ed. Sao Paulo. Cortez. Volume 11. 2002. UVINHA. RR. Youth, Leisure and Radical Sports. Sao Paulo. Manoli. 2001. VILAVRES. Leisure, Nature and Friendship. Forms of subjectivation in late modernity in travel, leisure and sport. The space of nature. Alcyone Marine. L. was a trainee Brutonsorg. Berruari. S.P. Manoli. Page 119. 2006. Received November 27, 2007. Approved 08/19/2008 144 2006.
Doing crazy dreaming. feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, so do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
That's it, the end of the song. Next time you'll sing along. Trust me, there's nothing wrong. I just need to carry on, cause society's a myth put there to make you sit. Listen to what they give. Don't ask questions, shut your lid. Yeah, don't ask questions, shut your lid. I need to run away from this and go get off the grid. Feel like my brain is overloaded, man, I'm losing it. Don't let them tell you what to do, man, they don't know shit.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah.
He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You
could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. And when they try to change, you can say no, free me.